Hey, it's Honeygregory again, and welcome to my channel. Have I got a special guest for you? I know you guys love movies, so I'm doing it again. I know you love it, so I have an amazing guy who does a little acting and makes movies. So, you want to know about making movies? You want to know about someone who's special who makes movies? Then tonight's your night. We've got a great show. Yay! So, here we go. Hey, it's Honeygregory again. Welcome to Perpetual Learning, where we're always learning, because if you're not learning, you're dying, and you only want to die in a slasher film, right? So I have a great, amazing guest for you today. I got to get me some more cocktails. Amazing guest for you today. His name is Dylanyoung. He's a director and writer, and I've seen some of his shorts recently, and woo, holy moly. So welcome to the show, Dylan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It was such a pleasure meeting you at the FrankenCon.
Yeah, it was nice bumping into you and getting to talk a little bit.
Yeah, so you sent me your links and I went on there and I was like, "Oh, wow, these are really short, but man, are they packed." I
Thank you.
mean, like I thought that is enough scary stuff for a 2-hour film, because like that one with the cowboys, I was like,
Oh yeah.
"Oh, oh, there is some blood
Oh
and
yeah.
guts and squirts. I don't even know what you call them." If I was Joe Bob Briggs, I'd probably was like, there's 500 blood squirtings and 15 knife stabbings and 14 shooting. I mean, I was like, that was 2 minutes long or something. I was like, I've never seen so much packed into 2 minutes. Wow. How do you do that?
So that one was for a contest that the Knoxville Horror Film Festival holds every year called the Grindhouse Grindout. And they
Oh,
get
I've heard of
everybody.
that.
Yeah, so you do a draft to find out what genre you get. And I got
Uh,
the first time I did it, and I got spaghetti western.
oh my
And
goodness.
so they give you 2 weeks from there to turn in a completed fake movie trailer. So I found that old West town and I got some actors and crew together, and we spent 2.5 days out there spraying blood and having fun. And it was a blast.
It's so realistic. Some of it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I tried, some of the stuff that I've been working on is quite a bit shorter. So I try to focus a little bit more on like the production value of it
Mhm,
and trying to get my
mhm.
story like told quickly than like,
Yeah.
like having longer stuff at the moment.
That scene where he's standing there and it's that high noon where they're out in the middle of the street and he's covered
Yeah.
in blood. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, who thought of that?
Yeah, it was that morning I thought of it and I walked up to the actor right before we filmed the scene and I was like, "Hey, how do you feel about me just covering you like head to toe in blood?" And he was like, "I guess." And it's funny, I've had a couple people like really praise that and I've always thought it was really
I
fun.
kind of had mixed emotions. I was like, uh, that's just really bizarre and different and unique and creepy. It was like this rush of thoughts all at once. I was like, what the heck did I just see?
What could he have possibly done to look like that?
And it looked really like it'd been stuck on him, like he'd been doused in blood from all his murdering, and that he didn't wash any of it off, like I'm just on my hell-bent revenge and I don't even have time for a shower.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. So you had several other things on there, so tell me about all these movies. So you're doing shorts or trailers. What else are you doing?
I also work crew for other people. I act in other people's projects. Later this year, there's a couple different slasher films that are going to be coming out around October time. Don't know if I can really talk about their titles or anything yet, but
Hush hush, why ain't you gonna be quiet about it?
I'll be playing the slasher villain in both of those films.
Oh, good
And
opportunity there.
yeah, I played a villain in a film called Painted in Blood from some few years back. That can be found on like Tubi and stuff. But yeah, I do a bit of crew work here and there, a few different jobs. A lot of it's like running sound or doing like assistant directing. And then I'm just like working on getting a couple of features together right now that I've
Oh,
like slowly
wow.
putting together for a while.
So is that your day job or do you do something else too?
It's more of like a
Your
Renaissance
sidekick.
man
You're
kind of thing.
ah,
It's
okay.
like I've got a thing here, a thing there. I'll do, I'm not afraid to do some food gigs here and there, but
Keeping it interesting.
mostly focus on filmmaking when I can. But it's like,
Yeah.
between COVID and the film strikes and everything, there's not quite as much work as I was hoping for transitioning into this
Mm,
career 2 years ago.
yeah. I think COVID kind of shocked everybody and threw everybody in a little tizzy and put
Oh yeah,
damper on everybody's plans.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I pretty much, because of my job, I just said, okay, I just want to go drive 6 miles to the office. I'll just do everything from my home office. So it was nice because my daughter was homeschooled. So I didn't have any, I couldn't just like leave.
Yeah, that's
No.
super convenient. That's good. It worked out well for you.
Yeah. So, all right. So what inspired you to make movies?
That's a good question. Whenever I was young, I would just like have these ideas of like, oh, if I made a movie or when I make a movie one day, I'd use this song for this kind of scene or do this. And it was never this like conscious moment, like an aha moment of like, oh, I want to be a filmmaker. But it's also weird because like growing up, I was in the Midwest. I didn't have a lot of money. There was no actual thought that I could make movies, like
Yeah.
I didn't
Unless
consider
you
going.
packed it and went to Hollywood.
Right. So it wasn't until 2019 that I worked my first crew gig and kind of saw how movies are made and was like, okay, this is what I have to do with my life.
Yeah. Wow. And then, so you said, this is something I wanted to do. And you just took steps and started doing it, just one thing at a time.
So in 2019, I worked on Charlie Steeds' film Death Ranch, and that was a feature film production where I ran sound. And while I was on that set, Aaron Murtis, the producer, asked me to work on his film, The Alpha Test, that started filming 2 weeks after.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was like two feature films back to back, kind of like what I would consider my film school, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And
Hey, that's the best way to learn is just jump
I
in.
yeah, and then it was like right after that, I was like, all right, I'm writing something. And like I
Mhm.
had expressed to both of them on Death Ranch that like I think this is something I might want to do. So I kind of want to like watch you all and learn from you all. And they were like, we think you might be able to do this too. So it was
Wow.
support from them. And Aaron shot my first 4 or 5 films.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. So why the horror genre?
You know,
I mean, because there's so many. I always find it fascinating because there's so many other things that,
there's so many other things. So I did just do my first more so just trauma recently.
okay. Okay.
But I would say there's a few reasons. There's, in general, I like scary movies. I'm
Hmm.
inspired by a lot of scary movies. I think that like a sign of a good director is to be able to elicit his emotions through the film onto someone else.
Oh,
And it's like, I guess whenever I was younger, the thing that would get me first was getting scared by movies. Movies didn't make me cry first. Movies didn't make me angry first. They made me scared. Whenever I
yeah.
was little, I would watch Pinocchio, and there's the donkey transformation scene, or the
Oh,
Adventures of Ichabod and or the Adventures of Ichabod Crane. Is that what it's called? And it's
yeah.
just the Sleepy Hollow one
Yeah. Yeah.
so much. And I think it just had this like emotional impact. But then there's like a more logistical way of looking at things. It's like you can make a decent horror film on a lower budget, and there's a
Yeah.
marketability there as well. But it's like it is a genre that I cherish and love.
Yeah, it's huge right now. Everybody I talk to is like, my gosh, the horror industry has just exploded, especially since after COVID. It's just like everybody's making a horror movie. Oof,
Yep, absolutely.
everybody is. They're either
It's
in it or making it. It's like, hey, I'm gonna
a
follow my
thriving
dreams.
community, but
It,
at the same time, there is so much content being made at the same time. So it's like it's hard to get your stuff seen sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I know. And you had a bunch of stuff at the convention, right, on your table, right?
Yeah, yeah. I also run videonasties.com, and it's just like a official horror merchandise website where we
Oh,
sell
cool.
stuff for like old like 80s horror films mostly. And that's actually what got me into filmmaking because I had made a collection for Charlie
Mm.
Steed's The House of Violent Desire, and he ended up inviting me onto the Death Ranch set, and that's how I got into filmmaking, really. So
Oh wow. I
like
haven't
a
seen that one. Death
transformation.
Ranch. Makes me think of what's that ranch out in Utah? Is it Utah?
The one that
Skinwalker Ranch.
okay,
Woo!
I know what you're talking about.
Somebody has anybody ever made a movie, like a spooky movie where some people like snuck onto that ranch?
I feel like I've heard of that, but I've
I
definitely not seen
I
one.
haven't seen it because that would be scary.
Definitely see that.
I used to want to go there, but now that I'm older and a little wiser, I'm like, oh hell no.
You're like,
those, those things are real, man. Those might take me off in a flying saucer or suck me down
right,
into a hellhole or somewhere. I don't even know what they might do. It's just too spooky.
right.
Um, so where do you get your ideas from?
Oh, that's a good question. A lot of just like ideas come to me when I'm showering because I'm not preoccupied and like my brain's not thinking about other things.
Yeah.
I've done a whole short film based on a dream I had. I guess I'd say it was a nightmare actually. But a lot of it is film inspired, and
Yeah.
I like watching a bunch of old genre films, and I'll take things here and there that I'm like, oh, that's a really cool concept, but maybe they didn't pull it off as well as I think maybe I could, and then I form something around that. But
So you
a lot
take
of
a
it,
challenge. You like a challenge.
I do like a challenge, especially with filmmaking.
Then what's been the most challenging film that you've done so far?
Oh, that's a great question. As far as like things that have been released, I would say the most challenging thing that I've made, I don't know. I've honestly feel kind of fortunate that a lot of the things that I've made did come together really well. I would say maybe the most challenging thing that I've made is The Kid's Revenge, just because it was so large scale and I had so little time. It's like I was ordering props and costumes 2 days before we were shooting, and then like I was finding the location the day before, and like it
Wow.
was all like, as fast as I could make anything happen. And I just felt like it really came together well, but it was a lot of a challenge, and it was challenging, housing everybody that came out there and feeding everybody out there. And we didn't have an oven. And it was like, I had to be very specific about what kind of like crafty and food I was getting everybody. It was like, there's just so many different layers to like how like overwhelming and so many different like challenges that I faced on that set. But like
Mm,
at the end of the day, I just kept focusing and kept
yep.
focusing on the best product I
One
could.
one step at a time. So was this a like an amusement park, abandoned amusement park or something? What was this little western town?
Yeah, so there's these little like, recreation sites that are like little Western towns. They're like tourist traps, basically. And so
Oh.
there's one of them that I knew about between Louisville and Nashville that I had tried to call, and they had gone out of business. And I
Oh
was like,
wow.
find something else like this.
Yeah.
So I found one that was near Nashville, and I talked to them, and the owner was like, oh, this is great. I'd love to be in the movie. Let's do this. And then he was like, oh, you need it now? He was like,
Oh.
well, we're setting up for Halloween right now, so you can't really
Um,
because it's not going to look right. And it's like,
yeah.
I got lucky. This place was called True West. It was in Jamestown, Tennessee. It's still operational under new ownership. And it was a blessing to have found this place and to have been able to shoot there for a few days. It was just the coolest experience.
Wow. And did you just so you shot it over a couple days or just one day?
2.5 days.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty fast.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty fast.
it was very
That's a
fast.
lot. Yeah. Oops, I hit a button. What's happened here? I jiggled something and something happened.
I get it.
Oh, so are you working on something now that's your own, your personal something, or about to shoot something,
Um,
or what?
I always have a few irons in the fire. So I just am finishing up an edit for a project that I produced for a friend of mine who's an actor. His name's DeAndre Teagle, and he wanted to direct his first short film. So we set everything up together. We shot the film. I was the AD on the film. He directed and acted in it. And now I've been editing it for months, and
Oof.
I just sent it off for VFX, like the CGI that we needed done. And when I get it back, I just kind of do some finishing touches, and we'll be able to start putting that into festivals and stuff. I've
Wow.
got a film that's been playing festivals recently. Sorry for the mess. That was one of the links that I had sent your way, and it's kind of like a
Oh,
suicide.
yes, I saw that one.
Yeah.
The ending
uh,
surprised me.
yeah. Yeah. I kind
Yeah.
of a little bit
Yeah.
of
I was waiting for it. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. That was a
Yeah.
twist.
So that one's been playing some festivals. It's got a lot more submissions. So that'll probably come out publicly around October and
What
November.
now, was that more like a PSA? A
Yeah, so that
public
was
service
the
something?
idea behind it, was to make
Mhm,
essentially a PSA that was just a
mhm,
little bit more of a short film feeling cinematic wise.
mhm,
But then at the end, it's just very clear that it's kind of like a PSA, and
mhm,
putting up some of those like helplines and stuff at the end of
mhm,
the film. I wanted to kind of drive that home that it was intended to be
mhm.
impacting
Oh, I
film.
thought it was good. I was like, "You had me." I mean, I was like, "Oh, no." Wait a minute, what?
It's just like, people in that situation, just give somebody a call.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always tomorrow,
Hmm. Absolutely.
no matter what.
But yeah, other stuff I've got going on. I'm prepping to launch an Indiegogo for the film Camp Laughter that I'm wearing a shirt for here.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, I'm finally doing a slasher movie. It's not something I've ever really done, but I came up with a fun idea for one, and we're going to be funding for it soon. I'm waiting on the final poster right now, and then we'll be
Mm,
launching the campaign.
did you say a film or a short?
We're going to do a proof of concept short film that is the beginning of the movie, and then use that as to show
A
investors
pilot, mhm.
and finish the film.
Oh, wow.
And I'm also trying to put together another feature that I'll kind of keep under wraps for now. But yeah, I've always got a few things I've got going on. There's a bunch of scripts that I'd like to make when I can. It's just, finding funding.
So, do you have any big names that are going to be in your films that you got coming up that you can tell us about?
Mm, I would say probably not. I like to work with a lot of local agency actors and stuff, but
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you couldn't tell me. Okay.
no, no, I just haven't really expanded into trying to work with names yet. And that
Mm-hmm.
might be something that I try to do with my first couple of features, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna see where the wind blows me as far as that's concerned. I'd love to, but I'm not necessarily pushing to yet.
So, what is your favorite movie?
True Romance by Tony Scott.
True Romance. True Romance. I don't think
Yeah,
I've seen that one.
it is quite a film. It was written by Quentin Tarantino, has a lot of his cast members in the film, but it was like one of the two scripts that he sold like as he was getting into filmmaking. And Tony Scott's the brother of Ridley Scott that made like Alien and
Mm,
Gladiator, etc. And
great movies.
it's True Romance is a film about people who didn't expect to fall in love going
Mm.
on an adventure because of a crime that they didn't expect to happen.
Oh, well, all right. So I wrote it down so I can check that one out.
Quite the film. I quite enjoyed it. It's very entertaining.
So, if you could remake any film yourself, your way, what would it
Putting me on the spot.
be?
I'm gonna say, unlimited budget?
Yeah, yeah, anything. Your imagination. Let your imagination go.
If I had to remake anything, I would
Mhm.
maybe remake The Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise.
It was Brian De Palma's take on Phantom of the Opera. It's from 1974. It's like a modern rock opera, and a
Oh.
lot of the film is from the perspective of this phantom. Um, and
Oh,
there's a lot of interesting commentary on the music industry and contracts within the music industry and stuff. And it's my favorite musical. It's got a lot of really fun music that's really well written.
nice. No, I hadn't heard of that one. Now, Phantom of the Opera is one of my top 5 musicals, Broadway musicals.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you should check
Yeah.
out The Paradise. It's very
The
different.
Paradise?
Yeah, but you should check it out.
All right, I wrote it down too.
Cool.
Yeah, I love the Phantom of the Opera, and I recently saw Antonio Banderas singing
Yeah.
as the Phantom.
Oh,
I
nice.
about fell over.
Have you
I
seen the Royal Albert Hall version of The Phantom
mm-mm,
of the Opera?
mm-mm, mm-mm.
There's a DVD and Blu-ray of it. That's probably, I've only seen a few live interpretations of it, but I would say that was my favorite by far.
Wow. Well, this was him and another singer, famous singer, I can't think of her name, singing together on stage like some big foo-foo event. probably New
Thing.
York or something.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can find it on YouTube, and I was blown away how good he was. I never would have, after was it Desperado or one of those, is
Oh, he was pushing
or
boots.
Zorro, and stuff. It's just like, wow, I never imagined Phantom of the Opera, but he
Incredible
pulled it
experience.
off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool. Oh my gosh. Hmm. So, if you could get anybody in one of your movies, who would it be?
Oh, that's interesting. I've actually never really thought about that, but I feel like Gary Oldman is like just the best actor ever, so probably
Mhm.
would try to work with him.
He is different in every single movie, like
Yeah,
from Dracula to Batman, and so on.
romance. He's in True Romance
Oh, is he
too.
really? Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta. I wonder if I can find it on YouTube.
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know either. Oh my gosh. So what else? So tell us, how can people find your work? So I know you told me, but tell everybody else where they can find your work.
So I have a YouTube channel that's Stolen Thunder Pictures. That's my production company. But I also have a Vimeo page that's under my name, and Vimeo is just like YouTube, just less compression, so it's just
Mm,
higher quality videos. But a
mhm,
lot of up and coming filmmakers will use it to host their shorts just so they can look a little bit nicer. But
mhm.
my Vimeo page should just be under Dylan Young, and I've got maybe like 8 or so videos on there, short films that I've done over the last few years.
Yeah, I don't go on Vimeo very often, but it's like in Letterbox, and it
Yep,
does look more motion picture quality.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it does have a better feel about it. Very different, but I think most of the people that I know that are filmmakers like to store their stuff on there.
For sure, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the Well, I'm running out of things. You answer my question so easily. I was like, I'm running out of things to ask you at this point. So, what else do you want to tell us about what you're doing that I'm not thinking to ask?
Yeah, no worries. So I would say just as far as like keeping up with me in general, I would
Hmm.
say like Instagram at Dylan A. Young.
Hmm.
I'm also on Facebook. I don't really use formerly Twitter, but you can find me on YouTube, Vimeo. I'm also on Letterboxd. I don't leave movie reviews, but I do watch a lot of stuff. It's just also at Dylan A. Young. Big Letterboxd lover here.
Wow.
Familiar with the
Very
platform?
well. I wrote a script and I've been trying to get it produced, but man, what a thing, man.
It's not easy.
It's like
Yeah, that's like the hardest part of filmmaking is finding money to make your movies.
it's the money, and then when you find someone that you think you could trust to produce it or direct it, then halfway into the negotiation, they suddenly become greedy and controlling, and you're like, pulling it, I'm out.
Right?
Yeah, because I've written a script because I also wanted to be involved in. I wanted a small cameo part in. I didn't want the lead because I'm too old for the main character, but
Just to be
um,
involved with your story.
huh?
But just to be involved with your
Yeah,
story.
I wanted to be a part of like the production process, and making sure it turned out with the vision that I originally had in mind.
Absolutely.
And people they were like, "Well, we want to give you a couple bucks for it and do whatever we want." I'm like, "Well, I didn't write it so you could do whatever you wanted. I wrote it so
That's
that it would have my dream, so that it was the. I mean, of course, someone throw $1 million at me and say we want to change them. All right, give me that $1 million and you have at it. But we're going to put some other stipulations in that contract about how I'm going to be in charge. I mean, how I'm going to write the sequel, and I'm going to have but money coming in every which way afterwards. But yeah, it's so hard. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I guess if you're writing and directing and producing, and doing most of the stuff yourself, then you can get the quality and get what you want. But it's just more time consuming and more challenging because you're wearing all the hats.
Yeah, as a indie filmmaker, if you want to rely on that for your main source of income, you have
Mm,
to be making 3 to 4 feature-length films a year. And that's
mm.
meaning like most of the time you're going to be shooting your own movie, you're going to be editing your own movie, and you're going to be doing these movies in 3 to 4 months if you're doing 3 or 4 a year.
Wow.
That's That's writing a script, getting a crew and a cast together, filming. I can't tell you how many movies I've worked on where that's the case. We get a handful of cast, a handful of crew, a couple of weeks, and you make the movie real fast.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
It's really wild, yeah.
So what advice would you give someone who's thinking, I want to do what Dylan's doing. I want to make my own movies.
So for someone that's like totally entry level, doesn't really know what they're doing, I highly recommend getting on Facebook, searching for filmmaking, film community, etc. groups that are local to you,
Hmm.
making a post. Hey, I don't have any experience, but I'm just looking to help someone else out
Hmm.
and get some experience
Yeah.
and do some free work. Don't be
Yeah.
yeah, you can't be above free labor at first,
Yeah. Yeah. Because you know
and
what you're doing. So how can you charge for something you don't even know what you're doing yet?
100%. And it's just like, learn from those people, get on as many things as you can and go from there. And it's like another thing I highly recommend is like buy the movies that you like the most
Hmm.
on DVD or Blu-ray, watch all of the special features, listen to the audio commentary of the director talk. I can't tell
Mm.
you how much stuff that I've learned from behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
Oh, this is how they do that. Oh, that's how they got away with this.
Yeah.
It's invaluable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like from that, YouTube. You can learn anything on YouTube.
I know.
You
It's like the source now, isn't it?
Absolutely, from writing to editing. And it's like, if you want to get into writing, there's a YouTube channel for Studio Binder. Studio Binder's YouTube channel has so many good resources for filmmakers. It's crazy.
Studio Binder.
Studio Binder, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
haven't been
are
that. I haven't seen that one.
Studio Binder is a company that is an online, you can write scripts on it, you can make call sheets on it, you can make just like all kinds of different things.
Like
And it's
things you
all,
need as a producer.
yeah, and having them all in one place, it's really nice. You can make shot lists on there. There's all kinds of stuff you can
Oh
do.
wow.
Yeah.
Studio Binder. That sounds really pretty cool.
It's
Is it
just a
something
great
you
course.
download it onto your computer and off
Yeah.
you go?
And I think it's just free to use. Like there's probably some
Oh,
paid version of it too, but yeah,
all
it's
right.
a great resource.
Very cool. Okay, so they do that, and then what?
Well, at that point, it's like once it's time to make your own movie, once you feel like you're ready, like, really, really try to learn what you can beforehand. Cause like you need to be able to ask yourself, what's it gonna be like once I get onto the set? And it's time for me to tell everyone what they're supposed to be doing to get my movie made.
Yeah.
Once you feel like you're ready to do that, you gotta like call in favors or
Mm.
ask friends and family to help you or
Are they
do.
reliable?
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like one thing that really helped me out whenever I was starting was working out trades with my
Mm.
friends for labor.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll come work. If you come work on my 2 short films and do 4 days for me, next time you do a feature, you pay me for 6 days and I'll come work for 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like anything that you can do like that is really helpful. But, when it comes down to it, make sure you feed your cast and crew well and just
Hmm.
let them know that it's your first movie and get a few people together, get a location that's going to be very easy and safe to use because you don't want to be in a high stress environment for your first film, and just try to make something simple that you can learn as much as you can on, and don't expect it to be great, expect it to be a learning experience.
Yes. And what about the festivals like you were doing? Should they try for those?
That's a great question. I don't think that it matters what level of filmmaker you are. If you have a completed film, there are festivals that will take your film.
Mm.
Does
Okay.
it mean that it's worth the money that you spend on those festival submissions? I don't know. That's up to you. That's a
Yeah.
tough thing. That's a tough thing that I struggle with a lot. I
Mm.
spend a lot of money on festival submissions.
Mm.
I never know if the people on the other end of that payment are even going to watch my movie and consider it.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
get any kind of responses from people unless you get in. Um, I think festivals are interesting. I think there's great opportunity there, but I think sometimes the great opportunity only comes from some of the best festivals.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy them. So I like to
Mm-hmm.
go to them and I like to network at them and I have a great time.
I think the main thing is that you have a dream,
Absolutely.
you plan where you want to be in 10, 20, 30 years,
Yep.
and then you plot out your course to get there.
And that's important. You have to have goals.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people will say, I'm a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
What have you made? Well, I made this one thing years ago.
Mhm.
You have plans to make anything else? Not right
Mhm.
now. And it's like, yeah, I mean, sure, that's cool. People do whatever they want to. People move at their own pace. But
Mhm.
if you want to truly succeed and become a filmmaker, it can be tough
Yeah.
to do that if you're not making new stuff or promoting your old material.
The more you do, the more you learn, the better you get. And then the
100%.
more you do, the better you learn, the more you get, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Do you know Ronnie?
Ronnie George, is that his name?
Yes. Yes.
I think he just added me on Facebook like right after FrankenCon, and I was like, I saw that guy walking around
Yeah, I
FrankenCon.
just
I
interviewed
don't
him
know if
right
I'm
before
all the way
you.
used to him. Okay, nice. How did
Yeah,
that
I just met him. He was really super sweet.
go? Good.
He was so kind. He came over to my table and he goes, "I really want to be an actor. Give me some advice," and asked
Oh,
me a bunch of
cool.
questions. He's super sweet. Um, he really wants to work. I think he'd be a good guy that would jump in and do just about anything for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So tell him I recommended him to you.
Right on. Do you know where he's based out of?
I don't remember. He may be in Tennessee. I'm not sure.
Okay, right on. Yeah, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, but I just do so much work down in Tennessee that it's easy
Hmm.
for me to connect with those
Yeah,
people.
I know a lot of people do because I guess the tax write-offs or something are good in Tennessee.
It's great. Yeah, shout out to 502 Film. They set up a new tax incentive program in Louisville for the state of Kentucky a few years ago, and it is doing really well and driving a lot of revenue to the state and bringing a lot of cool out of town projects and hiring a bunch of local crew, and it's awesome.
That's cool. Because I also heard that Atlanta was the new hot spot. People
Oh,
weren't going to LA anymore. It's too high, too expensive, too weird. Everybody's going to Atlanta.
Atlanta is growing very, very quickly. There's a lot of new studios popping up there that are just like currently being built or expanded. There's a lot
Wow.
going on there in the commercial industry and the film and TV industry as well.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Well, it's amazing. Well, we're almost out of time. Can you believe it?
I believe it. Good conversation flies.
I know, doesn't it? It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
It was so great meeting you. I hope to see you again next year if they invite me back, maybe. We'll see what
Oh,
happens.
I'm sure they will.
Well, you don't want the same people showing up every year because then it gets boring, right? You want
That's
new,
fair.
exciting, new, exciting
They should
people.
just expand, add room for more people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you need an old lady in a part, let me know.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
I'm in Indiana, so I'm not that far from you.
Right on. I do a lot of my stuff down in Nashville, but it's only a couple hours
Yeah.
away from me. So,
Yeah, it's like 5 for me if I really rush it. If
yeah,
I don't stop to go to the bathroom 5 times.
bad, right?
It's 4 or 5 hours.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, Dylan. So any last words you want to tell anybody? Because this has just been
Um,
amazing. You're awesome.
well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Give me a follow. Be on the lookout for the campaign for Camp Laughter. I'm gonna have similar suspects. That's one of the links that I sent you coming out in the next few weeks. It's
Mhm.
another one of those fake movie trailers that's kind of like a mystery romp.
Oh my
So
goodness.
looking forward to dropping that soon.
Well, I'm
And
telling you, I did this like on one of I was like, ah, it
but
was
yeah,
so much.
based on what you were asking me earlier, just
Yeah.
about stuff for inspiration in
Yeah.
general. It's just like just make a movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it doesn't have to be good. Just
No,
make it. And it's
just
like
do it.
if you don't live in a community where there's a Facebook group, get your iPhone out and film some stuff with your siblings or something. It's like don't
Hmm.
money discourage you from practicing. And it's like if you finish that movie and you don't want people to see it, don't show anybody and make another one and make it
Hmm.
better.
If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. So just get up and do it. And
Absolutely.
because we can think of 1,000 excuses not to get up and do something, like, oh, I got the dishes. Like, I got to go do the dishes right
Really
now.
easy at
And I might make up some excuses because
that.
I don't like doing the dishes. But no, really, though, really that's all it boils down to is just go do it.
Yeah.
Just do it and do it badly. I love that saying. It says fail upwards.
Yeah. I mean, every mistake I make, I'm very hypercritical of
Mhm.
myself and I try to avoid ever making it again.
Well, we can't always avoid making mistakes, but we definitely have to learn from them because we will
Absolutely.
make them again if we don't, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, you're just a delight. I've had so much fun.
I appreciate it. I had a great time as well.
Well, thank you, Dylan, and I look forward to seeing you again. And y'all will find his information down below. So like and subscribe so I can keep bringing amazing people like Dylan to give back on perpetual learning and Honey Goes to the Drive-In. So I, I'm I've got dual things going on. I don't even know who I am anymore. I can't make up my mind. So anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
love you. And I can't wait to see you again next time. God bless. See ya.